What's up, fitness fam? Welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk to you about the 6 mistakes that I made trying to get fit. And I wanted to put this video out there because I don't want you to make these mistakes, okay? So without further ado, let's jump right into this mess. Number 1, overtraining. Really be careful on how much you lift, because when I first started, I was going full bore 7 days a week, did not realize that I would need to rest more than I did. Because think about it. When muscle grows, it grows when we rest, right? So we tear it up in the gym when we sleep at night and we fuel our bodies with enough protein and food. That's when we grow. So if you hammer it and hammer it and hammer it too much, it's not going to grow. My coach would tell me, look at a marathon runner. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to look like, that's great. But if you're trying to build muscle and you run too much, or you're constantly stressing the muscle every single day, it's not going to grow. So the way the marathon runners look, stringy, long, lean, because, they're constantly pounding those muscles. So think of that. So the ideal amount of training that I found is 4 to 5 times per week for 45 minutes to an hour, which leads me into the mistake number 2. All right, so having said that, mistake number 2, too much cardio. Yes, that is a thing. So how much is too much? How much is not enough? Honestly, when you're first starting out your routine, 20 minutes post-lifting or fasted is plenty. Again, if you pound that muscle too much and you're trying to get it to grow, it's going to be very hard for it to grow. And matter of fact, you can send it the other direction. You can make it shrink if you overstress the muscle. So don't do too much cardio. I was doing 45 minutes to an hour, along with my training. And when you first start, that's just too much. You shouldn't have to do that. And remember this, when you're trying to lose fat, your body does adjust to what you're doing. So if you do too much, your body's going to be like, okay, we're here, now we're here. It really adapts to what you're doing. So our bodies are built for survival, right? It's a pain in the ass sometimes. I'm not impressed with technology these days. I swear, we can send a man to the moon, but we can't figure out how to stop fat loss, right? So we have to trick it and be careful with it and, really watch our diet and all that good stuff. But growing muscle it's tough sometimes. So you've got to find that balance with your body. For me, my body's very sensitive. If I do too much, my muscles shrink in a New York second, and it's annoying. So I'm just going to warn you, watch the cardio. Again, start with 20 minutes. Let me say why. So, okay, if you're going to sell a house, right? When you're negotiating to sell a house, you have to start up here, right? So that you have a place to go. Same thing with your body. It adapts, so you've got to have a place to go. So don't start with too much cardio, all right? Really keep that in mind. So I would start with 5 days a week, post-lifting or fasted, for 20 minutes. Lifting is where you want to burn your calories, though, and building your muscles. Okay. So what is fasted cardio? I'm going to jump into that for just a moment. Fasted cardio is where you get up in the morning, you haven't had breakfast, you can drink black coffee or water, and you do your cardio before you eat breakfast. Not to be mistaken with intermittent fasting. That's a whole different animal that I don't do. And the reason I don't do intermittent fasting is because it's really not a friend when you're trying to build muscle. You need to make sure you're giving your body enough protein. Intermittent fasting is just an easier way to put yourself in a calorie deficit. There are some health benefits to it, not saying there's not, but I've tried it and I lost muscle, so that's why I don't do intermittent fasting. Totally different thing. Anyway, so fasted cardio can be handy. The trick to fasted cardio, though, is the night before your last meal needs to be protein and veggies or salad. If you have like starchy carbs, they're going to sit in your system. And then when you get up in the morning, it's going to burn that first. So the principle behind fasted cardio is you get up in the morning and it reaches for the fat stores to be burned off and used as energy. So that's what you want to utilize for your fasted cardio. I think it works great. I've heard people say, oh, there's not enough research on it. Well, okay. Every coach I've ever had has told me to do it. And to be honest, it's worked really, really well for me. So utilize it where you can. Now, there's another thing that I take when I do fasted cardio, and that's going to be L-carnitine here. I love, love, love L-carnitine. It's naturally produced in the body. When you take it, what it does is it encourages your body to release the fat stores to be burned as energy. I know, it's amazing. It's good stuff. So that is one of the few supplements that I would recommend. So take that before fasted cardio, and then if you're going to lift, which is what I do fasted cardio and then I lift later in the day, take it before you lift as well. So it will help you. I'll put the link below on the one that I take. There's a couple different variations because Amazon is always selling out of this stuff. So, check out my links below and I'll tell you where to get all this stuff. All right, now let's move into number 3. All right, so mistake number 3. Oh my gosh. I used to believe all that abs of steel, buns of steel BS back in the 80s, 90s, right? Thinking that I could spot reduce fat with exercise. That is such a myth. Probably one of the biggest myths out there. You can't turn fat into muscle and you can't turn muscle into fat. When you lose your muscle, it just shrinks. But when you are trying to get rid of your fat, that's 80% diet. You can't spot reduce with ab exercises. As a matter of fact, I don't even do ab exercises anymore other than vacuums. So here's a demo here on how to do vacuums. Super easy to do. I do have this video on TikTok if you're looking for it. I think I even have it on Instagram on my highlights. Anyway, so you can't spit reduce. You can't spot reduce fat with exercise. Just know that you're not going to be able to reduce fat by doing inner thigh exercises or arm exercises. Fat loss is 80% diet. So when you start being in your calorie deficit with your diet, your body's going to take fat from everywhere. So think of your body as a vacuum sealed bag. When it starts to lose the weight, it's like vacuum sealing a bag, right? It just shrinks down until it finally gets it where you want it to go. And I'll be honest, this is always last. The stomach, the lower back, I swear it's always freaking last. It's annoying, right? So just know that you can't spot reduce with exercise. Moving on, mistake number 4 that I made, not eating enough protein. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is huge. You've got to get 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Now, having said that, if you're a bigger girl, and I say that very lovingly, but if you're over 200 pounds, go for your goal weight in grams of protein, okay? And I hear this a lot. Oh, Claire, how do you get all your protein in a day? You'd be amazed, okay? So I actually eat every 3 hours, small meals every 3 hours. But, even if you're only eating 3 or 4 times a day, you can add things like protein waters, protein shakes. The protein waters are handy, actually. These right here, I love them. I'll put the link below where to find all this stuff. But on my Amazon page, I have some good protein ideas. There's a thing called protein puffs that are like, little Cheetos things. They're great. So it's things like that you can snack on throughout the day that will help you get enough protein in, because it's crucial. If you're busting your butt in the gym and you're trying to get that booty to lift up and you're trying to get some little shoulders on you just want to have some damn tone, then you've got to be eating your protein. You're almost wasting your time. I'm just being tough love here and I'm being honest, you're almost wasting your time if you don't get enough protein. And also enough food too. You can build muscle if you're in a small calorie deficit, not as much as you could if you were in a surplus or maintenance, but you can do it. You just have to, 1, get enough protein, 2, make sure you're eating the right kinds of foods and carbs, sweet potatoes, Japanese yams, things like that. I've posted about that time and time again on my TikTok, but I can make a whole nother YouTube on that. If you'd like to see it, let me know. Let me know what you would like to see next on these videos. So yeah, that is crucial. Make sure you get all your food in. Try to eat at least 4 times a day. I do 5 to 6 small meals every few hours, just fueling my body. Like I said earlier, intermittent fasting and bodybuilding or adding muscle really don't go hand in hand, in my opinion. Especially if you've been doing this a while. My body was like, you are not going to build any new muscle at all if you starve me. So the intermittent fasting thing, like I said, it's got great health benefits, but it's not for me because I will lose muscle. And I'm 50 years old, you guys. Let me tell you something. We lose muscle as we get older. Sarcopenia is a real thing. We lose 8% of our muscle every decade over the age of 40. Did you know that? Until we get to 70, and then it turns to 15%. Oh, makes a lot of sense now, doesn't it? When you see a lot of people walking around hunched over, the older generation, and they're very frail, is because they've lost so much muscle naturally. That can be prevented so easily. Just lift weights, get enough protein, and make sure your hormones are balanced. That leads me into the next segment. All right. Okay, so this getting older crap isn't fun for any of us, right? But yeah, mistake number 5, hormone balance. Huge as we get older. Why? As we get up over 40, our estrogen, progesterone, our natural testosterone. Yes, ladies, we have natural testosterone in our systems, just like men do, and it takes a nosedive as we get into our 40s. So what does that mean? We lose our energy, our libido, and our muscle starts to shrink. That's why we start to look really skinny fat or have no muscle tone, because our chemicals in our bodies, our hormones just get off. So here's what you need to get checked. I'm going to post it right here. Screenshot these as they come up, by the way. You want to get those hormones checked. Now, here's the thing on this. You want to go to a wellness doctor or an HRT doctor. Do not go to a GP or an OBGYN. Why? Because they don't specialize in this. Okay, when you have a knee problem, you go to a ortho, right? So when you have a hormone problem, you go to a wellness doctor or an HRT doctor. I have a great one that does telemedicine from anywhere in the US. If you need their information, send me a message here, or actually, it's even better, DM me on Instagram at @ClareMorrow_IFBB and I will send you my doctor's information. She's awesome. She's over the age of 50, very experienced with athletes and just normal people who have imbalances in their hormones and how to fix it. Case in point, last year when I started going to Michelle, I was losing hair and going through this oh my God, my hair was just falling out like crazy. So if you're getting belly fat, losing your hair, those are symptoms of hormone imbalance. Anyway, so she looked at my blood work and said, Claire, your thyroid meds are too high. We need to drop them down because my thyroid is a mess. And yes, your thyroid can make you cause hair loss if you're not careful. So as soon as I did that, I kid you not, within a few days, my hair stopped falling out. That's how good Michelle is. She was 100% right. That was when I switched over to her. The other doctor I was using didn't catch it for whatever reason. And maybe because he was a male. I don't know. I like the way the lady doctors, though, because they own these parts. You know what I'm saying? Like the men, they just don't get it. You don't own a JJ, dude. Come back to me later when you're going through this mess yourself, right? And you're a female. Anyway, so that is one big thing that I wish I would go back and tell myself is to get the hormones checked, because I was getting nowhere trying to lose fat, trying to lose my belly fat, trying to, put some muscle on my body, because my hormones were off. When I checked my testosterone, it was 0. You know what that means? That means that no wonder my energy was low. No wonder I couldn't, was losing muscle like crazy. It was bad. So get those hormones checked, ladies. And finally, mistake number 6, eating like a complete asshole. Not putting enough emphasis on my diet and too much emphasis on the gym. Like I said earlier, it's 80% diet. You can't outrun your fork. So make sure you're in a good calorie deficit, eating whole natural foods, and track your food. Like literally, we would go to the gym and then leave the gym, and my husband and I were like, oh, we had a great workout. Let's go to Applebee's or some chain restaurant. And we would do that, eat like complete assholes, and wonder why we weren't getting anywhere. And we would also drink too. So alcohol can really slow your metabolism. It also stops fat loss for up to 24 hours. So be really careful with it, because it's a toxin. Your liver has to process it. And when that process is going on, it's very hard for it to process food properly. So guess what that means? You guessed it. It gets stored to fat. And as we get older, it usually lands on the belly. So good frickin' times. I'm not saying don't drink. I'm just saying be very careful and be aware of what you're doing, because if you're trying to lose fat, it's going to hold you back a little bit. All right, so make sure you're tracking your foods on MyFitnessPal. That's the one I use. Love that app, because at the end of the day, how do you know? How do you know that you're getting enough protein if you don't log it in your app? And it's real easy to use. You just enter it in there, and then I usually copy paste my meals every day because I tend to eat the same things every day. So it's super easy. I track my calories on there as well. Speaking of which, if you need to figure out where your macros and calories are, I have a great calculator on my website, ClareMorrow.com. Definitely check that out. It'll help you. And if you have questions, just reach out to me on Instagram. Be glad to answer. So yeah, don't eat like an asshole. It won't help you. And then one more quick thing I want to touch on. Another little mistake I made was not utilizing bands enough. I used to think, oh, the weights are good, you know, bands are for pussies, you know, whatever, pardon my French. But it's not true. You can add, you know, like these booty bands here. I add them to a lot of my different exercises. You can get on the Smith machine, put them above your knees and use them to fire your upper glute. That's what they're for. So when you see those girls doing that, that's what we're doing, is we're firing our upper glute. They really do challenge the muscle well. So get you a set of long ones like this. You can do a lot with these, and a set of short ones too. So, I use the X bands. Those are my favorite. I'll put the link below where to get them. They hold up to my beatings really well, and they're just well made. So, all right. So those are the mistakes I made trying to get fit. I hope this has helped you. Please don't make these mistakes, guys. Please. Definitely like, subscribe. Tell me what you'd like to see next. And as always, thanks for watching.